Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Perth Sevens. This one, it is Fiji versus Argentina. Two sides that are normally well and truly up there in terms of ranking. Now, Fiji currently sit first in the overall standings, but Argentina, they have been struggling. They are currently sixth in the men's rankings. Last year, they got the most points out of any side, so they need a bit of a change, and perhaps this competition in Perth could be the momentum shifter that the Pumas need. Looking through at the starting lineups, first of all for the Fijians, it is Josefa Talatholo, Seva Mothanothangi, Jeremiah Matana, the captain, Ioane Teba, Terio Vailawa, Vuiviwa Nadovalo, and also George Balsi, last man in the starting side. So pretty similar to what we saw as the starting lineup for Fiji last competition. For the Argentines, it is going to be Zangara, Matteo Graziano, Santiago Alvarez, Santiago Mari, who is the captain, Luciano Gonzalez, Pedro De Haro, and also Marcos Maneta. Now, if there were any two players that could completely change the form of Argentina, it would be Marcos Maneta and it would be Luciano Gonzalez. So if they are firing throughout this tournament, they will certainly be a team to watch out for. But Fiji, they are the defending champions, or at least they won the most recent series leg on the circuit. It was in Singapore. They defended their title 2 in a row in Singapore as well for the Fijians. Thoroughly impressive from them. This game taking place in Perth. Now, from memory, last time it was Argentina versus Australia as the final in Perth, which means, of course, Fiji did not take part in it. But what I just want to very quickly check, Fiji in the Perth Sevens, they finished 4th in the overall standings. They had a great win over New Zealand, 33 points to 5 in the group stage, but beaten in the quarterfinal 19 points to 0 up against the South Africans. But ready to go in this contest, Marcos Maneta, he is wearing the away or alternative strip for the Argentines, which is that black with blue trim. The Fijians wearing the white with the black on the shoulders, and ready to go for what will be a fast-paced, hard-hitting game in this group of the Sevens. But Seva Mothanothangi, 64th tournament. So he now equals Jerry Tuwai for the most tournaments of all time for Fiji. Koluni Sal had 62. Natungu had 59. But now Mothanothangi bringing up the big milestone. Nick Hogan in charge of this game, Fiji. They will be kicking off from left to right to get us underway in this contest. Of course, do let me know who you guys think will be able to win this game. Do think it could be a pretty close one, as both sides more than capable of having a high-scoring game of Marcos Maneta, and as Argentines are in possession straight away with Luciano Gonzalez. That's going to be the early penalty going the way of Los Pumas. No clear release from Fiji. And this is now a great opportunity for Argentina to make some meterage. Are you my best friend, Hamish? Says Mohadeen. We'll have to wait to see whether or not you're sick of me by the end of today, because we have got another 8.5 hours or so worth of streaming throughout the next 14.5 hours. So yeah, by the end of the day, you might go, you know what, Hamish, you're no longer my best friend. I'm actually sick of you. I need a break. But now, Marcos Maneta. I keep on mentioning him, but I think he's only touched the ball about once at the moment. But I just feel like with where he's positioned at the back of this lineout, he is the target. It wasn't the straightest throw, though, from Argentina, which does mean it will be a Fijian lineout. Sorry, a Fijian scrum, in fact, they have opted to go for. In the scenario, 15 metres in from the sideline, 40 out from their own line here, Fiji. It's just good pressure, those long limbs of the Fijians when it comes to the line-out. Josefa Talatholo, he is so brilliant at stealing that ball, something that in the battle between Fiji and South Africa was phenomenal to watch, the way that both the teams were able to get those turnovers. Ball's going to be fed in now by Fiji. Terio Vailawa in the starting lineup yet again. He had some crucial tries in the last competition. So did this man with ball in hand now. Vuiviwa Nadovalo scored a hat-trick in the opening match for the Fijians in the last competition. Seva Mothanothangi goes back across to Terio Vailawa. Bit of space for Josefa Talatholo. Oh no. They've just run out of space there. Jeremiah Matana, he was looking up at who was defending him rather than looking ahead to see where he was. England is the only game that would be that won't be close. Why don't England play in the Sevens? They do kind of. They are a part of Great Britain in the Sevens. When it used to be 16 teams, they had England, Scotland, and Wales all as separate teams. But they now, this looks like an injury here for one of the Argentine players. I'm not sure who it is as of yet. Is that Santiago Mari? Or is it Dejaro? It might actually be Dejaro here, who has a bit of an injury. And what would you do if you were driving to another town and you seen a cow in a field acting like Randy Savage? I assume that's if I was driving to another town and I see a cow. How is it acting like Randy Savage though? Like, because surely if it's doing like the finger point, that means it's got its hoof off the ground and that cow's doing some sort of black magic. But now off to the right-hand side, short ball to Luciano Gonzalez, can't quite get through. The Fijian defence ball was dropped on the ground, but referee rules it is still in control now. Nice little cellular dummy, looks like maybe another injury for Argentina here. Marcos Moneta, 5 metres out from the line, and they go over Argentina, the early try for Pedro Dejaro. It obviously wasn't him who was injured because he's still looking like he's playing very well. But the early strike for Argentina, like I said, maybe a knock-on and the breakdown on the process of getting to there. But still a great try nonetheless from the Argentines. Marcos Moneta was well handled in that tackle. And they managed to find the offload. Now ready for another drop kick attempt. In this competition, it's hit the post and bounced back out, so the score will remain at 5 points to 0. The moment in favour of the Argentines as we pass 3.5 minutes in this contest. Update the time, there we go. Now Fiji. They've been a slow starter before. In fact, even in Singapore, they were a slow starter to a certain extent, but they came back and won most of the contests they were down. Half-time question, would you bring in the Sevens players into the Anzac test for the women, says Kiwi Rob? Depends on the schedule, really. Like, if it doesn't overlap, I'd say go for it, but then at the same time, they can't really take a whole heap of Blackford Sevens players out of there, going short side now, and it will be Zangara who scores. He was the one who had the bit of an injury, and he looks like he's a bit slow getting back up to his feet, looking a little bit ginger. Not in hair colour, but it is the try scored by Argentina, their second of the contest. They have started this one with a hiss and a roar. Are covering Super Bowl Monday? I am not. I couldn't even tell you who's playing in the Super Bowl. That's how little I've been following it throughout recent times, unfortunately. Who is in the Super Bowl? Out of curiosity, Matthias. Are you just breaking first matches over? Unbelievable. Just looking for 5 minutes. That one's missed away to the side by Argentina again. They still lead this match. I've just said. Oh, okay. This is the first meeting for these two sides in Perth, as it used to be the Sydney Sevens. Now Te Reo Vailawa with a nice step. Drop ball from Fiji. Goes backwards through the hands of Vuiviwa Nadovalo, pops it on the inside to George Bolsi. Thought about an offload, instead goes with an American football style pass over the top to Talatholo. They're not really going forward at the moment, Fiji, though. They're inside of their 22. Ioane Timber goes to Bolsi again. At the moment, it's a game of hot potato, trying to find that next passing option that can create a bit of a gap. They have a gap after March to May, says Kiwi Rob. So, I mean, if they're available for selection, they might as well pick them. Nice run from Te Reo Vailawa. A lot of people picking this man to be in the season best side. Missed tackle from Marcos Moneta. He actually got to him. Had the pace to be able to catch up with Te Reo Vailawa, but then from there, Vailawa just put on that little bit of a step to get around him, and it's the try for Fiji. Their first of the match. Marcos Moneta, he has got lightning pace to be able to catch up with Te Reo Vailawa, who's one of the quicker on the circuit. Bad Bunny is in the Super Bowl. Anyone in your town going to Christchurch round to the Supercars? Don't think so. Not that I know of anyway. When is France Sevens rating? What's France Sevens rating post-Dupont? Says, I am nutty. Currently for the French Sevens, they are third equal alongside South Africa. And the standings, 2 points behind second place New Zealand and 6 points behind Fiji. But last competition, France looked really strong. And they've got some big matches in their group stage. They've got New Zealand, Australia, and Great Britain, but there's a chance that they make it through to the semis, if not final again. And now kick downfield, slap back. Nicely taken by the Fijians round the halfway line. 10 seconds remaining. Talafolo. Way to the left-hand side. Little shuffle step there from Tario Vailau. He's just annoying them at this point, and that is what Fiji are able to do. They concede 2 tries early. They come back, score 2 themselves, and they'll now lead at half-time. 14 points to 10. And just never underestimate the Fijian comeback ability. Taking some deep breaths, though, for Tario Vailau. He's told to hurry up by the referee. But in the final, up against the French, they were down 12-0. They then went on to win that game 21 points to 12, which are plans for the gap between the Sevens ending and the 2 Six Nations games, says Kiwi Rob. Between the Sevens ending, that's only like maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours, so probably not a lot. I'll probably be scheduling the Sevens streams for tomorrow. But other than that, I won't get a huge amount of a break. Perth, technically the most isolated large city on earth, says I am nutty. And Tosafeti says Akta. And are they playing in March? Do they take a break? So these 2 legs of the Sevens are back-to-back. Then next week it is actually Division 2 Sevens, so that involves the likes of Germany, Belgium, Kenya, going to be in action too. When is Fiji's next game, says Mohammed. So the next game for the Flying Fijians, it has taken place. 1 second, we'll go here. It is up against Spain at 8:36 p.m. So pretty much taking place in 3 hours' time for that next game for the Fijians. Next game for the Argentines is up against South Africa, just the game prior at 8:14. But yeah, Poolway is definitely one to keep an eye on because there's 3 juggernauts and also Spain who can cause the occasional upset all in the same group. Are you doing next week's games? I'm hoping to do some of them. There will be a few overlaps with Super Rugby as well as just everything else that is happening. I believe Six Nations also taking place next week, but we'll be trying our best to cover at least some of those Sevens matches. Super Rugby starts next weekend. It certainly does. Can you play Sevens and 15 at the same time? AG DuPont took a break. Says, I am nutty. I think you can go straight from like one season to the other. Normally, if you're on the Seven circuit, though, you don't often leave it until the end. But no, you can see guys going, depending on like Super Rugby-wise, we're seeing guys go from the Sevens straight into Super Rugby. Normally within that same kind of period of time. It just depends on where you're needed pretty much. But these guys also, for the Kiwis, for instance, they're normally like NPC players too. So, you know, if New Zealand have enough guys in the Seven setup, they'll either bring someone else in or they'll chuck them to the side. Chiefs are playing the best this year, says Mohadeen. They had a good win over the Hurricanes, but I definitely wouldn't count the other sides out. But the Chiefs defensively were extremely impressive in their last game. That kick from Argentina has not travelled the 10 metres, so because of that, they will go back to the halfway line, and Fiji will have themselves the scrum. Did you have a haircut, Hamish, looking crispy? I did get a haircut, yes. Only a little bit of one, not a massive amount. They rocked them like a hurricane, says Big Rig. Anyone know what the score was for the Blues versus Satyrs? In the end, the Blues were able to get themselves the victory for that game. I think it was a similar score to what we actually saw the week prior for the Blues Hurricanes. I'll get you the exact score now, though, because I think there's actually still Super Rugby pre-season somewhere happening. Oh, no, maybe not. That other game might have come to a close. Has it? Maybe. I know that the Fijian draw, we're playing Fijian Invitational or something along those lines. That's a nice pass over the top. And Vuiviwa Nadolvalo, it's a 3rd try in a row here. Nicely taken. And well done from Vuiviwa Nadolvalo. Oh, hang on, they're checking this one. I think it might be for a 4 past the last one. And we have got there, you look young, Hamish, for the haircut. And another comp you can cover is second tier Six Nations, Netherlands versus Portugal. Should get South African viewers. Says, I am nutty. I don't even know when the second tier Six Nations has taken place. Oh, okay, no try. The pass was forward. So that will keep the score sitting at 14 points to 10. Forward pass from the Fijians. Okay, they're just saying there about how if he had tried to manipulate it a bit more with his hand going backwards. Right, so the score, Crusaders lost 45-24 to the Blues. It happens now. See, I didn't even know it was on. T20 World Cup starts today. It certainly does, yeah. Pakistan versus Netherlands. I think kicks off in about an hour, doesn't it? For that matchup. Lifeline for the Pumas says Big Rig. Yeah, the momentum has firmly been with Fiji here. Now it looks like the change is about to be made for the Argentines. Still 6 minutes left. They have scored the same amount of tries as Fiji here. They just haven't been able to get those conversions, which can be extremely costly in the long run. Argentina, 11 of their matches this season have been decided by 7 points or less. So that's pretty brutal. 11 of their 15 as well, so a big percentage. About 70% of the time, their games are split by 7 or less, which means that even in games that they've lost, they've been thereabouts. Georgia would like that, says Big Rig. Yes, and our Black Caps start tomorrow, says Kiwi Rob. Pop pass up there for Argentina, up to the halfway line. A pass away to the right, a bit of a rough pass to Santiago Mari, who does well to be able to control it, gets it up to Marcos Moneta. 5 minutes remaining in this match, and still only the 4 points separating them. Oh, drop ball from the Argentines. Mistake made at the worst possible time in Fiji. Now they will have themselves the scrum feed. They are big mad. They are not in the Six Nations. They want the Six Nations to have relegation and EuroLeague to have promotion, says Big Rig. Yeah, it's quite an interesting one, isn't it? Because Georgia, they have been the side that have been pushing for it to be like promotion relegation, but then at the same time, any time that they've played up against like the Welsh or anyone like that, they lose. So it's a bit of a tricky one. Like, yes, their rugby's come a long way, but they have to make sure the next time that they play up against, the opposition in the Six Nations, they actually beat them. Or else then their point gets slightly taken away. Is there Six Nations next year? I believe so. What's wrong with the kicking of the Sevens teams? I think it's just a little bit of rust off the kicking tee, because like we saw Tegan Levi also really struggle. Like they were saying, she was very good off the tee last week. Now George Balsi running down the wing, running through Marcos Moneta and hanging on to him over the try line, scores it now for Fiji. That's a big lead now, 9 points ahead of the Argentines. It's going to be hard ground to make up. George Balsi just showing that power. It was a great offload from Ioane Timber. And then from there, Marcos Moneta just couldn't quite get underneath him and drag him down. Fiji need to invest in basketball. They will create legends. There's Ruby. Did you know it used to be the Five Nations and Italy was added to help grow the sport of rugby? I did. Good old Italy. And all the sides all have, I guess, not so much shares in it, but also more so voting rights. Which, that means that no side's going to be like, yep, we're going to go out of it. I used to be 4, says I am nutty. So who was the team that got added in before the Italians? Georgia know that. They want the sweet dollar, says Big Rig. Now, penalty does go the way of the Argentines. Currently a 9-point lead. That kick was missed by Fiji. Ireland were the team that were added. So it used to be England, Wales, France, and Scotland. Interesting. Now, going off to the left-hand side. Now, popping it in behind. Moving it away to the right-hand side. Oh, sorry, France. Okay, so French. What year did they arrive in it? Off to the left-hand side now. Another step in the middle of the field for Los Pumas. Graziano, he's going to be tackled by 2 big Fijians who did not want to let him go. I think it's called as a maul. Yes, it is. So Fiji almost made a mistake there. One of their players actually pulled out because he thought it was called as a tackle rather than the maul. Almost a knock on there on the ground. Walangi went for the risky offload. It's going to be knocked on by Argentina. A lot of players asking referee here for penalties. France got added versus home nations. And what happened to Ireland on Thursday? They just couldn't hang on to the ball to save themselves. Right, knock-on advantage in favour of Argentina. This game getting very scrappy, but it looks like now we've got a little bit of structure coming back. Sells the dummy, trying to go through was Arata. And another knock on from Los Pumas. This is where they really do need the bonus point, though, for being within 7 if they want a chance of going through to the next stage. I hope the games are closer tonight, says Kiwi Rob. And also we have got there Scotland who won today 14-18. If you're talking about the under-20s, they did manage to get a good win over the Italian under-20s, which was fantastic to see. And France got booted out in the 1930s due to clubs paying players under the table. Excessive on-field violence, says Studs Race. Interesting. That's something that's continued on the first part rather than the second part. I do South Africa play next week, says Mohadeen. If you're talking about in the sevens, the women's sevens do. They are going to have a game up against Kenya at one point in that group stage. Manuele Mai-Samoa, he makes his way on due to the injury of Tera Wailangi, which is a big concern here for the Fijians. He is one of their bigger players out there, can bring that physicality in the physical contest. And I like the referees who say, if you come to me asking for a penalty, you'll get one. And did you see the England-Wales under-20 game this morning? I did, but one-sided. Oh, no, sorry, that was the other one. England, I was thinking of England-Ireland, but yeah, good game in the end. England close and narrowly getting the win over the Welsh, which I think that game was supposed to be one-sided too. So, like, the fact that Wales did well in the under-20s, that's something for them to look forward to. Filippo Bukayaro takes the quick tap now. 90 seconds remaining here for the Fijians as they start to cut back inwards. Oh, over the breakdown was going to be the penalty. Well done from Nick Hogan there. He was just about to blow his whistle, pulled out of it because he realised that the advantage was still in play. And Manuele Mai-Samoa scores it between the posts. This should give Fiji the win well and truly here in Argentina. Now they have a huge amount of work to do if they want to go on to win and get through to that next stage. I went to South Africa playing in the under-20s. I'm not actually too sure when South Africa have an under-20s match. And what are we looking forward to for the rest of this fantastic Sunday? Your rugby commentary has become an institution in my house. So I'm looking forward to Fiji versus South Africa in the men's side of the Sevens. I'm looking forward to both games of the Six Nations, even though they are supposed to be a bit one-sided. I still love watching international rugby in February. And then in terms of other matches, what else have we got? New Zealand, France. That'll be a good one in the Sevens. More than likely will determine who tops the pool. Of course, that's very early to say, seeing as New Zealand haven't actually played any games yet. Neither have France, but I think that will be the battle. Sevens got paid for my EU summers. Sleeping in barns from Italy to Spain. Says, I am nutty. And yeah, I think the French Rugby Union got control during Nazi occupation and took all league club assets. And no cricket today, says Kiwi Rob. No. So I wasn't able to play due to all the sevens that were taking place. So I ended up having to take this week off. Luckily, though, by the sounds of it, they did go all right. And they actually managed to win the game. So that is fantastic news for the team. And by the looks of it, yeah, decent effort all round in terms of batting-wise. Now, it's going to be the ball in the hands of the Argentines out on the wing. Trying to find that one last try, increase that points differential. Graziano, another ball knocked out of the hands. It's going to be a knock-on advantage, I believe. No, it's awarded as a penalty. It's going to be for offside against Fiji, and they just kicked the ball away, so that'll be a yellow card. That was a bit silly from the Fijians. I think Scotland will win. They should do, but very hard to say. Right, Manuele Mai-Samoa is the man who has been penalised there for booting that ball away after the penalty was awarded. Argentina, they still have one last attacking opportunity. I will mention the next live stream that we have got coming up on the channel will be that contest between New Zealand and Australia. That is taking place at 6:05 p.m. New Zealand time. So we are skipping that France versus Great Britain game just so that I can set up a few more live streams in the gap. But we'll be letting you know exactly what happens in that game, of course. What do 7 skills add to 15's game? Well, it depends on whether you're looking at attack or defence. I'd say that on attack, that's a knock on there from Argentina twice there in the scrum, so that is going to be the end of this contest. But yeah, like attacking-wise, they just seem to be able to create gaps. You look at someone like a Caleb Tangitau, a Leroy Carter, just the spatial awareness defensively normally is pretty strong as well. Although one thing that some Sevens guys get caught out with is the 50-22, just because they're not used to it from the 7 circuit. The breakdown work as well is something that is massively improved if you're a guy from the 7 setup. And then also just that kind of stamina. They always talk about it, that if you go into a game of sevens or like a tournament or a season of sevens as well, that you just seem to have that fitness of next level going back into union. If Hamish don't play, they win, says Mohaden, although they did lose last week when I didn't play as well, so not quite true. But yeah, we haven't won a huge amount of games this year. Wingers in the pot showed better players, says Iron Nutty, and go Fiji, says Naz Williams, and also GFG, says Azeta there. But yeah, fantastic win for the Fijians, 26 points to 10 victory over Argentina, so they will be more than happy with that. But now, next game, ladies and gents, it is taking place in around 20 minutes' time. We will be starting back up on the channel, so be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Fiji's next game taking place in just under 3 hours too. We will be live for that, as well as their game later on up against the South Africans. And the same can be said about Argentina too. But thank you all very much for watching. I will see you all for the next one.